I think about the younger self, so little Livy, I would say, and you wouldn't speak negatively to your younger self, like you wouldn't shout at a child. It will happen to me. I want to do this, and you're writing it 3, 4, 5 times. It is a really positive thing to do with your goals and what you want to do in life. All I need to succeed is within me. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Magical You podcast by Catrice with me, your host, Olivia. So today we're going to be discussing the topic of self-empowerment. Firstly, I know you're wondering, what is self-empowerment? Well, it's something I'm a huge advocate for. It's taking control of your life and making decisions based on what you truly want. It's about making a conscious decision to take action to change your destiny. I have so much to say on this subject because, as many of you know, I've taken some pretty big decisions in the last couple of years to change my destiny and work towards my dreams. Speaking of dreams, it's makeup time. And as I start today's look, I'm going to share a quote, as always, that reflects our topic for the day. The one I've chosen for this is, "I am mine before I'm ever anyone else's." That's from Nahira Waheed, who is widely regarded as the most famous poet on Instagram. So no prizes for guessing where I found it. I find her fascinating as she doesn't reveal much about herself, but writes beautifully and somehow manages to perfectly capture human emotions so well in so few words. As we're talking about empowerment today, I'm going to go for a look that makes me feel powerful and totally in control of my life, with an elegant, smoky eye. So let's talk firstly about some tips on how you can achieve self-empowerment. So the first one is develop a positive attitude. And as spoken about previously on the positivity episode, positivity comes pretty naturally to me. I'm a pretty positive person. But if you want to know how to be more positive in your life, I would recommend going and check out that episode. And the second one is set reasonable goals or realistic goals. Something that you can see yourself doing that's aligned with your personality type, what you love doing, and that you can actually see yourself doing in a year or 2 years, and set that time frame for yourself. So the third one is to surround yourself with positive people. And I can definitely relate to this one. My friendship group, I always find that I have the same values as them. So they're also really positive people. And you want people to always think of the best situation for you possible. And you don't necessarily want someone that's always dragging you down. So the fourth one is practice self-care, which we also had an episode about on this podcast. And I would highly recommend, if you want to start implementing more self-care into your routine, to go listen to that episode. I always kind of think and speak to myself in a positive tone. And I do this thing where I remember or I think about the younger self, so little Livy, I would say, and you wouldn't speak negatively to your younger self, like you wouldn't shout at a child. So I always just think of myself as little Livy and be positive to her and show that you can be confident and positive, and my mindset always just flips when I think of it that way. 6 is be assertive, and if you know what you want, you will get it. Be determined and have that, again, positive mindset. And the 7th and last one is to make a list. And I always find this helps me too. Whenever I really want something to happen for me, I write it down. And it's also like making a to-do list for your life. And I really find that once you put it down on paper, it's more clarity for you to see it there. And it's kind of like it's been taken out of your head. So you're not going to be overthinking it because it's there written down clearly on a piece of paper. I really like that when I write it a few times, I kind of almost manifesting it for myself. That also is a more positive outlook. It will happen to me. I want to do this, and you're writing it 3, 4, 5 times. It is a really positive thing to do with your goals and what you want to do in life. So also self-empowerment to me entails a lot looking up to self-empowered women or powerful women in society and culture. And one of those women for me is Adele. So, of course, Adele's songs are real belters and they make you feel empowered. But also just her in general, and the way she's accepted herself, and how she has kind of portrayed that on social media, and in all of her interviews. It's something really inspiring for me. And I'm a big fan of her music, and I just love the way she held herself. And her personality is also very similar to mine, I think. She's not afraid to laugh. She has a big laugh. She gave that like kind of impression that she was uncomfortable in her skin, and she like walked into any room confident. And that is something I always looked up to and found a lot of inspiration when I was working on my self-empowerment. I was actually watching one of her older interviews, and she was speaking about how she really embraced her vulnerability and being vulnerable, and how that was really empowering for her. And that was really kind of an eye-opener for me as well. You know, it's just surrounding yourself with people that are being real with you and also acknowledge that they have vulnerabilities, and to not shy away or have a negative connotation with it. And if you embrace it, that is so powerful, and it goes a long way when you're working on your self-empowerment. She's also spoken about how she read a self-help book to really help her life. That is also what really inspired me, because she was so open with that. And it's also just a great tool to highlight here on the podcast as well, is self-help books can sometimes seem as like, oh, you're reading a self-help book. There's a lot of connotations when it comes to that, and sometimes even negative, but break the stereotypes, and they can be really helpful to also have that time in a day where you set aside and have a calming time reading, and you're reading things that will only benefit you. And another woman that I find super inspiring is Greta Gerwig, because it also takes me back to when I was studying film, and it's a very male-dominated area. And I was really inspired by female directors, female video editors, even producers. I found them really inspiring in the industry, because it's a really hard industry to come into as a woman. And she's been so successful in recent years. But even then, she has had so many struggles in the industry itself, and she's been really open with those struggles. And I've always just found that super inspiring and empowering. She's also super supporting of other women in the industry, and is always collaborating and working with other women. And if I was still in the industry, I would love to work with her. And it's super inspiring that she is creating this movement to have women in film, really pushing the boundaries in that sense, and really demanding in a male-dominated area that there should be more women. And her last feature film was super iconic. We all dressed in pink when we went to go watch it in cinemas, and the movie was super inspiring. And as a film geek myself, I love to watch it. I actually watched it 3 times because I really love to analyze films. And for me, the topics discussed in the film were much needed in a film, and it was just super empowering for me to walk out of the cinema. And I went with all my girlfriends, and it was just a really empowering moment last year, and I will probably remember it and tell it to my kids one day, where, remember this film came out? So yeah, there are some incredibly inspiring people out there, right? I think we can all learn so much from their stories and how they've done things on their own terms, and not let anyone knock them down or hold them back, and inspired others along the way. Let's give ourselves some inspiration now by repeating 3 affirmations that we can use to feel empowered and powerful. So to start, I want you to find yourself a calm, quiet space where you're not going to be interrupted. Are you ready? We're going to start off by taking a few deep breaths in and out to help us relax and fully engage with the words. I am complete within myself. I am complete within myself. I am complete within myself. All I need to succeed is within me. All I need to succeed is within me. All I need to succeed is within me. I am empowered. I am me. I am empowered. I am me. I am empowered. I am me. Thank you for doing those affirmations with me. I hope they made you all feel totally empowered and ready to take control and make positive choices to work towards your goals. I'm feeling so empowered right now, so I'm just gonna spritz some setting spray. And now I'm good to dive headfirst into another day feeling powerful and making positive, empowered choices. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of the Magical You podcast by Catrice. I love to hear your thoughts on our topics and especially the affirmations. So get in touch and let me know what choices have made you feel empowered. Don't forget to join me again next Tuesday when we'll be talking about courage with the quote, "Vulnerability is not winning or losing, it's having the courage to show up and be seen when you have no control over the outcome," by Brene Brown. Have a wonderful, empowered day.